All right, pressure is on.
I will remind you, I have a barbarian start of the session move.
Yep. This is where I ask you something about your culture or your background, or well, I think you mentioned last time we played that your barbarian culture was sort of a roving band that was in search of water, sort of in search of resources.
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious about the sort of either the tribal structure or the political structure, if there is one. Is it a patriarchy? Is it a matriarchy? Just sort of how are the groups divided up and stratified?
I think they're largely kind of family and extended family units, with some maybe when you're of a marriageable age, you kind of go off and find another one of the tribes that you guys are friendly with this season. There's from year to year, season to season, you might be at war or allied with different tribes. Within the tribal structure, it's really whoever the strongest personality or strongest warrior, whoever has the force of personality or muscle to hold that family together. I think there's a lot of challenging in the upper ranks. And then if somebody's held through just force of might, held the family together, as they get too old and there's a bunch of challengers, they're likely to get killed off. So you tend to have maybe somebody who's in their 40s or 50s would be heading the clan. Whereas if it's somebody who through just sheer force of personality, charisma, cunning, they might be a little bit older. And it would be kind of the difference between having somebody like Marjorie Tyrell, head of the House of Tyrell and Game of Thrones, versus somebody like Robert Baratheon, who, as he got older and weaker, he was challengeable.
Okay.
So yeah, I think rather than playing that game within my own family or being married off, I fled to make my own way.
Got it.
But I do think if we end up in a culture where there's really strong sexism or racism, it would be pretty surprising to her. She would maybe not understand it at first because that wasn't really part of where she came from.
Okay. Understood. Okay.
I'm gonna mark it XP. If you think that.
Damn it! You tricked me into that again.
I'm one away from leveling.
We'll have to deal.
Come on, fail or roll.
Have to do something about that. Okay. So we finished our last session with you guys had essentially driven off the ambush from the goblins. You had one survivor left at your disposal, and the caravan was sort of reorganizing, picking up the pieces, deciding whether to camp here, whether to move on, because you weren't far from camp at this point. And we're getting into dusk now. We think we were approaching that when you had your encounter. The whole encounter probably took 2 minutes, at the most, 1-2 minutes. So we're still in that same, late afternoon, approaching early evening time frame. I don't believe that you guys had pulled the remaining goblin out from under the warg yet. I don't remember if you had. So as far as I remember, he was sort of pinned underneath the warg that had been killed. But do you remember differently? Maybe you guys had grabbed him and.
Jessica, what do you remember, or what would you have done? Would we rescue him and capture him, or would you kill him, or let him go?
I think maybe we had killed him, I want to say.
Or is that what you would have done, if you don't remember exactly?
I think that's probably what I would have done, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have stopped her. I wouldn't. The
Okay.
goblin was an attacker and a threat.
Perfect. All right. So executed the last of the ambushers.
One escaped, right? One did get off through the woods. We didn't pursue him.
Right. One took off and just bolted in a direction. And if you guys remember, you sort of came to the realization that this isn't goblin country. Like, they typically stay to the mountains, they stay to the caverns. It's unusual to see them in this part of the world. It's unusual for them to venture this far away from the security of their caves. And that's where you're left. I don't know, but sort of what is your reaction? What are you doing now that you've essentially got a couple of, 5 goblins and 2 wargs laying around, and various villagers sort of tending to the one body and trying to get the carts resituated.
Jessica, how would Vales be reacting?
I think I can't remember if anything was damaged, so we'd probably be taking inventory of the vehicles and seeing like if there was any damage, remedying them, and then trying to get back on the path, on the way.
Okay. So the carts were jostled. They were, disorganized. Things were shaken up. Not merchandise, but wares in the back of the middle cart was sort of is in disarray a little bit, but nothing was damaged. Nothing was broken. The horses are all fine. One cart had just been sort of steered off the path, maybe 5-6 feet, when the one goblin tried to take the cart and drive it away. But otherwise, everything's fine. Carts are not damaged. You're down one farm worker, essentially. So the various people driving. So go ahead.
In reaction to the death of the farmer, especially recognizing that these are people who are like non-combatants, and that was somebody who was like their kin that died. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit distasteful to Tina, I think, to give him like this warrior's credit, but she is going to start like, he saw that that Jenka had a opportunity to fight off the goblins, and he stood up and like presented a target to like get her the chance to slip in there and like save you all. Like, what was his name? And start telling like that was heroic the way he died. And I'm gonna just kind of build up like he was part of the story. Like, he was not just a victim. He was a hero. Yeah. And just try and get the other people like to feel good about what he did, and like maybe be a little bit braver if we ever have to lean on them in the future for goblin attacks.
Yeah, and it's a somber mood, but they seem to, they appreciate what you're doing, and that you're sort of building a way to remember him. They're getting the carts together. The driver of the lead cart kind of hops off and trots back to you guys, and so what do you think? Are we staying here tonight? Do we push on? What do we do?
Well, since the goblins had already attacked once, they ran away. I would be fearful of them wanting to come and attack us again in the middle of the night. So I think it'd be best to kind of press on and move away from the area. Maybe find a better place for cover.
Okay. Yeah. We'll keep moving. You just let us know when we need to stop. And he trots his way back up to the front. And you're, like I said, you're probably one more day's hard travel away from the larger city that you were headed towards. Just a city, like I said, a medium-sized city, not like a giant city-state, but definitely larger than the farming village that you came from. You're headed to a town called Eldenshire.
I'm gonna back up Jenka. I think we're probably about as safe here. Or what is it you want to do, Jenka?
I think she said to press on.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll ride up in the front cart.
Okay.
And Jenka in the back.
Okay. So you guys start moving again, and not more than 10 minutes on the road, you hear sort of the sounds of the forest again. Things seem to be falling back to normal. There's not that eerie feeling that you had before of just complete silence, and that sort of the sounds of the nighttime of the forest are starting to build up around you, and it's a welcome change. Things feel back to normal in terms of your travels. This reminds you more of the previous days that you've gone through, but it is in contrast to the sort of the life and vibrance of the forest. The wagon train is silent. They're sort of taking in the events of the evening, and you can proceed without event until you want to camp, or I don't know if you want to push to attempt to push through the night. You can do that as well if you like.
Mm-hmm. I think. What do you think, Tina? Do you think it'd be a good idea to camp already, or press on until we hit the city?
You're the brains, Jenka. I think if we camp here and they're still in the area, maybe they'll come at us and let us kill them real quick. But if we push on, we'll get to a warm bed and some booze sooner. And I'm going to kind of look around and like I'm saying that out loud to Jenka. I'm going to kind of just scope the caravan people around us. Are they afraid of traveling at night? Like, is there a practical concern of breaking a horse's leg, or like if we push them a little bit, would they resist us, or would they be? Are they ready for a warm bed too?
After the situation that happened, they're looking for leadership. They're looking for somebody to sort of take charge. You do know it's not like you're, slogging through rough terrain. This is as close to being on a road as you could have through the forest. I mean, it's a well-beaten path that carts go back and forth on. And in fact, it's probably almost wide enough for carts to go simultaneously in either direction. It's like a 2-lane highway almost. You could go through the night without worry of rocky terrain or, the horses having trouble. You guys haven't done it yet on this trip, but it wouldn't be treacherous.
Do elves have good vision in low light? Like in some fantasy settings they do?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we can kind of leave open to game by game. It can be defined differently. Like elves don't have a magical low light vision, but there might be a thematic thing that we decide on. You have any thoughts on that, Jessica? Can Vales see well enough to guide us?
I forget what type of monster
You chose elf, right?
I think.
In some fantasy settings, it's really a thing that elves can like track by the moonlight and stuff like that. Is Jenka Vales that kind of elf, or is she somebody who cannot see very well at night?
No, I think she can see at night, so it's okay. I think I can press on.
And then I'll give kind of a rousing speech to the folks, the caravan about. I've followed Jenka into worse and darker nights than this, and her elven eyes have always seen the dangers before they've gotten too close, and just trying to build their confidence and like push forward. And then I'll look to Jenka like, do you want to sit up on the front cart? Just I'm going to be blind.
You were the one that put me back here in the first place. But yeah,
maybe let's both sit up there, and I'll stay sober tonight.
All right, so
what a
I'll
sacrifice.
And I think you can probably tell Tina's a little bit nervous about getting caught out there. Like arrows out of nowhere is probably one of the things that really freaks her out.
Sure.
You people in these lands will attack from unseen, and that bothers me.
Okay. Um, I wonder if there's anything I can do just to detect if there's anything out there while we're writing up.
You basically just keep a watchful eye, right? And if there's nothing there, there's nothing that has to happen. There's no like roll. Josh might choose, and stop me if I'm overstepping boundaries, but if you look at special moves, Josh might decide that we're doing a special move called Undertake a Perilous Journey. When you travel through hostile territory, choose one member for Trailblazer, one for Quartermaster, one for Scout. Any roll that we don't choose, we automatically fail.
All right.
So it's up to Josh if we're kind of going into that dangerous, perilous journey territory. And it could be argued that as part of the party, we have all the farmers and stuff with us, basically as hirelings. And so if we choose to like let them be quartermasters, that's kind of their profession, is to take care of their own goods. Like you might decide that we wouldn't have to roll that because they are in the party. They're eminently qualified to be quartermasters, and we would be like Scout and Trailblazer.
No, I think that's a good point. I think we can do that. Sure. So one of you would be Quartermaster and one of you would be Scout.
I think Scout and probably Trailblazer. I think
that's right. Yeah, sorry.
And so, and since Trailblazers, since we're on a trail and we're not necessarily looking for the quickest route, because there's one route we intend to follow. If let's say I'm the Trailblazer, if I screw up, what might happen was we came to like, we're on a trail, but like you said, it's a little bit established, but it's not like a paved road. Maybe there's a game trail, or there's been like a divergent trail picked up to go somewhere else, and I missed the right turn, and we end up lost that way.
Okay.
Or a tree has been felled, or water has washed out the trail, and I get us kind of lost.
Sure.
So even though we're on a road, we could still suffer a failure.
Okay.
But yeah, Jessica, do you want to be the Scout who watches out for danger, or the Trailblazer who kind of keeps us on the right path?
I think probably a Scout because of my L5s.
Okay. So I'm going to roll Wisdom. Oh, I got an 11 on my Trailblazer. And then Jessica rolls Wisdom also.
Okay.
And the move definition kind of shows you what's there, Josh.
Okay.
That's good. It's really, there's, unless you get a 6, there's really no bad rolls here.
So as the trail, I mean, Andy, you were the Trailblazer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys proceed through the night. No real hints of danger through the evening, and make great time. Are you going to push through the entire evening, like through till dawn or through till destination? Sounds like that's what you're...
What time the next day could we get to the destination?
If you push through the night, you would get there shortly after dawn.
So everybody will be tired. The animals will need rested, but we'll be somewhere they can all sleep and rest. And then I'm good to follow Vales. You want to push through the whole night, right?
Yeah.
You freakish elves don't sleep. Some of us need rest, but I'll put a little cayenne pepper on my nose.
Defer to.
Yep.
All right. So, however long it takes, we're gonna go ahead and just go through until either something distracts us or until we reach the city, I guess.
Okay.
Back in our stupid days, Josh and I used to have hangouts, sleepovers, and we'd drink lemon juice when we start getting tired in an effort to keep ourselves awake.
And it never worked.
And didn't. But Tina's there chugging.
Trying.
Chugging lemon juice.
Yeah.
I don't know why we did that. That was so dumb.
Yeah. It gave you that little jolt and then didn't last.
Us and
Eric?
wonderful Eric Lawson. Okay, I'm just trying to get this new photo here. I don't know if it's showing up for you guys or not.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So it's like that, but
The
daytime.
moon over. Okay.
So you roll into town. Everybody's fairly tired, ready to kind of settle in the town. You head towards, and this is a town of, I don't know, 5,000 people, 4,000 or 5,000 people. So much, much larger than the farming village you came from.
And you said Elfshire, was it name?
Eldenshire.
Elfshire.
There are a couple of sort of commercial areas here, and the caravan is headed to the one that they always go to. It's sort of on the easternmost part of town. They're sort of dreading a little bit setting up for the day, having traveled through the night. But the market's open early, so they're sort of rolling their carts in that direction. It's a little bit of a surprise to the town folks that there's a caravan rolling in this early. Most of them roll in throughout the day or in the evening and kind of wait for the next day. So that's a bit unusual. People are kind of giving you the look over. But for the most part, you're traveling through the town. No big incident. You guys are both beat, tired from sort of driving this caravan all night. And sort of being focused, it's like when you do an 8 or 10 or 12 hour road trip and you are the driver the whole time. You're just sort of fried.
Mm-hmm.
There are various taverns, various inns around, or you're welcome to keep with the caravan. But at this point, your job with them is essentially done. They've gotten there safely. They're not really a target on their way back with empty carts. And the agreement for you guys was to get them here. So they're
I'm gonna awkwardly kind of approach whoever the head driver was and say, glad that we got here safely. Follow Jenkins' lead to get us to town. Really sorry about Pete. Got you back to the body. There was mention of pay.
Yeah. Thank you for, all things considered, thank you for getting us here. He starts to kind of opens a footlocker under the driver's seat of one of the caravan carts, pulls out a little pouch full of coins. Say it's 40 gold pieces that he's got in his pouch. Kind of shakes it a little bit, making sure it's weighing what it should, and kind of tosses it your way. Deal's a deal.
Again, I'm glad that we were able to be there when he needed us. And I'll look over to Jenka. Jenka, do we have an agreement? Like, do we split this half and half? You get 20, I get 20? Or have you talked into some other arrangement?
Probably. The gold doesn't really mean much to me, so I probably you probably haven't discussed with me what the fair arrangement was. So you'll probably just throw money my way, and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool," without really understanding like what it is.
Do you have on your character sheet? If you go from the main to the sub sheet, you'll see coin. You'll have a listing there. Did you start with any coin? I don't think the wizard probably does. I know the barbarian didn't.
Sub sheet.
You're both broke as a joke.
Nope, I'm broke.
I'm gonna give you 20 coin, but I'm not actually telling you how much we were paid. Like I'm just splitting it. And as we get more and more money, I'm probably going to hang on to a bunch of it to keep her from doing foolish investments and purchases. But I'll divvy it out as you need it, kind of is what I was looking at. But meanwhile, I do have
you get an allowance.
Yeah, I'm too much going to put you on allowance. And if at any point as a player, like that's not interesting to you, that's cool. But part of what Tina does not admit to herself is that she has that Herculean appetite for riches, property, fame, and glory. So she's going to be kind of throwing money down to like get notor, like buying drinks for the bar. Like I'll be wasting the money if you don't get it from me. So if at some point you don't like that I'm our banker, totally challenge Tina on that. But for now, I'm splitting 20-20. And I would go to wherever the caravan is setting up.
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of go with them, kind of help offload some crates, and then tell them like, "Hey, where would you sleep if you were here?" And I'll go get a room there and like crash through most of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And unless Jenka pushes me in some other direction, I would pretty much hang around the caravan and try and get a job going back, or find a job in another caravan going further. I want to move before I run out of coin.
Okay.
So I'll turn to Jessica.
I think I'd probably like go to tavern, see if there's a room for the night. Maybe go get a meal with whatever this gold will. You might need to accompany me to go get a meal, actually, now that I think about it, because I don't know how gold works.
You just kind of look around and then watch me walk off. Like I'm gonna follow her. Like she'll solve this for me.
Yeah. And so.
Okay, so you escort the caravan basically to the marketplace, and it's like a big open air bazaar. People are setting up their stalls, and you both are fairly well traveled. This is one of the larger cities you've been in, but you've been to city states and the capitals. So this is a respectable market for the size town it is. You can find a lot of whatever you need. There's stalls with vegetables, breads, meats, spices, herbs, as well as, kind of manufactured goods. There's a more permanent stall where there's a smithy and there's a Fletcher and things like that there. But it's all sort of in a ring around this open air market with, more like kitchen food stalls in the middle. Around the edge of this ring, there's a number of taverns kind of all facing in, because this is an area where people gather. And so people who are traveling into the town to do their shopping often stay here. The people in the caravans that, they don't stay at any of the inns. They tend to do more of basically the equivalent of a youth hostel, just cheap Spartan rooms. But the spot they all tend to go drink at that also has an inn is, if it's a ring, we say it's at like 2:00 on the ring. And it's a spot called the Widow's Respite. It's a tavern on the bottom. As D&D lore would tell you, the tavern's always on the bottom, the rooms are on top. And that's just how this place is as well. So that's where they like to go. That's where they're going to go tonight when they're done, and have a little coin in their pocket after selling some of their stuff.
I think camping on the cheap sounds good. So instead of getting an actual hotel room, like kind of what would it cost for coin wise to be able to get, you said there's some exotic spices and foods.
Mm-hmm.
I'd want to try and get something I've never had before.
Okay.
Without breaking, and enough to share with Jenka and with the caravan hands.
Okay.
And then an evening at the Widow's Rest at Youth Hostel, unless Jenka could probably stay in one of the nice rooms if she wanted.
Well, the Widow's Respite is in the inn. It's not the hostel. The hostel is nameless. It's just a spot a couple streets over that they go to, and it's like
next to the stable.
Yeah, it's almost like a barracks. It's like multiple bunk beds in a big long room, which you can stay there with them if you like, or you can go to the inn. They tend to hunker down and have drinks and stumble back to the hostel at the end of the night.
Well, Jenka, let's say I buy us some interesting breakfast, and then we can go split go Dutch or whatever the equivalent is here. We can go Dutch on a room, and I'll take the floor, and you take a comfortable bed.
Okay.
Probably won't get lice if we stay in the hotel. If we stay in the youth hostel, it'll be cheap, but we're gonna be itchy for a few days.
All right.
This is true. So you, you easily find a number of different food items you haven't seen before. Especially you, Tina. You have traveled some, but the idea of fish, of seafood, is sort of a novelty, especially where you come from. And there are various kind of rivers and streams that go through the forest that you're in, and so there's essentially the equivalent of like freshwater fish, of like walleye or something, that's kind of smoking at one of the tents, cheap enough for you to get just for a gold or two, to get plenty of it for the two of you and half a dozen of the people from the caravan to kind of all go on a meal together. For another gold or two, you could feed the whole caravan if you wanted.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna. I'll knock myself down to 16 coin and just get like heaps, armloads of food, and just kind of walk up to where the caravan's setting up and just start putting out like, here's some smoked walleye, and here's, I think pickles is a thing I've fallen in love with. Anytime I find pickled foods, eggs, pig's feet, like whatever the hell people are pickling, I'm like, oh, that I can carry that with me and not have to like stay near the kitchen.
There's also the equivalent of basically like an apple cider. So there's, again, you're in like a Midwestern temperate kind of a zone, and that's just they're selling that to the kids. They're selling that to people who are from not in the area. It's not a spirit. It's not alcoholic, but it's just a beverage that is really common in this town that might be a little unusual for you guys.
I'm probably gonna buy, I don't know, like a growl. What would be considered a growler in our times?
Sure.
But it's gonna be actually like alcoholic for me.
Apple wine.
Sure. And you can get alcoholic versions of this, and maybe if you inquire in the tavern, you can get a lot of it. But with no problem, you find like a wineskin, like a big canteen, full of some sort of alcoholic cider. The caravan guys are really thankful that that kind of picks up their spirits for a day of selling, a day of kind of getting what they need to take care of their families back home, and then they're looking forward to drinking with you tonight at the inn. Do you guys explore the market at all? Do you head for the inn? Do you hang with the caravan?
I think after a good move, I'd want to sleep, just because we have been up all of the last day and night, and now it's probably like mid-morning by the point we finished eating, and I've got a little bit of booze in me now, if Janko would be sharing.
Yeah.
So I'd say sleep until like evening. Okay.
Yeah, you guys rest. I think, Andy, you maybe were down a hit point or two, so that whatever you were down,
rest, I would heal it.
Comes back. And there were no injuries. It was just bumps, bruises, scrapes, general fatigue.
Stabbed also, right? But you do get half your hit points back.
She drank a healing potion, though.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, you're both topped off. You're fine. A little achy and sore, kind of like the day after a good workout. But you've sort of grown used to that's kind of a way of life at this point. You wake up. Night has fallen by the time you wake up, or at least dark has fallen by the time you wake up. Unless you made a point to wake up earlier, if you just like slept to comfort level, then it's getting dark by the time you guys wake up. And you can hear sort of the bustle picking up in the tavern downstairs. You didn't really pay much attention to the tavern. You just kind of headed up to your rooms before, but it's a U-shaped bar that sort of backs up against one of the walls, with long tables around it and then stools at the bar. And it's probably, Yeah, it's getting towards half full by the time you guys wake up and leave your rooms or leave your room, which sets you back for the night. Up this economy on the fly. We'll say it sets you back 2 gold.
Yeah. I'm gonna pay one of it. And you pay one, Jessica?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. I'm down to 15. I've already spent a quarter of my earnings. Let's see if I can make out of this town with at least 5 coin left in my pocket.
Is that what you're trying to do right now?
So as I get up, I just kind of look at you and like, well, you know, we had work to get us this far. We're looking for work. You want to just meet the locals? What do you want to do downstairs?
I say let's go downstairs, see if we can find more work.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. You head down to the bar. There is one bartender working the bar. Must be a pretty skilled person because this is a busy place. There's a couple of men kind of working the floor, waiters, if you will. But this is sort of the flipped on its head version of the general male-female dichotomy in the bar place. There's a woman bartending, working the bar, and the bar wenches, quote unquote, is 2 or 3 men that are working the floor in sort of just humble clothes. Obviously subordinate to the bartender. She's kind of shouting out orders, pointing fingers, directing them around as she's taking care of all the people at the bar. She is in charge of this room. You see a couple of the people from the caravan that you work kind of rounding one sort of corner of bar stools at the bar. Somebody rolled something.
Oh no, I just clicked a thing.
Oh,
Make sure that I have food in a pocket.
I'm gonna go ahead and approach them and see if they know anybody that needs 2 escorts, I guess.
Okay. Okay, so you approach, there's 5 of them sitting at the bar. And they look a little sheepish, look a little bit embarrassed. I'm like, well, we, during the market today, actually hired a couple of folks to help us back the village. We didn't assume that you were coming back there. So we're covered. I mean, we could cut things off with them and hire you guys again if I mean, I feel like we owe you a little bit, but we just assumed you weren't coming back there. I mean, there's other folks at the market. We could talk around with them tomorrow. We could figure out. I mean, I'm sure that there's other vendors who are moving on to the capital. We could try and hook you up with something there. It's like 3 days away.
Well, I mean, we were happy to help you. That's not a problem if we ever run into each other's paths again. That's cool as well. But we'll go ahead and we'll look for services somewhere else if you've already found.
Yeah, I mean,
found assistance.
I feel like an asshole though. Let me try and find somebody for you. We'll try and when we're working tomorrow, we'll talk to some folks. We'll try and find you something. You want to do like another escort thing? I mean, you're looking for like security work?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you never know. Maybe somebody in here that we buy a shop for us an idol need something. We can figure that out. And he kind of, one of the other guys kind of grabs his shoulder and tries to get his attention, bring him back into their conversation. He doesn't seem to be a source for work for you right now, but he's going to work on it. He's going to see what he can find for you. As the bar starts to, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say that I was going to go ahead and just wish them adieu for the day and just walk away.
Okay.
I think while you're talking to him, I'd also like to be up at the bar, and I'm going to be talking about running into goblins on the road up here, since that was such a strange thing.
Okay.
my purpose partly is to have anybody else who has had encounters with goblins, like if there's any other news of them in the area, like bring it my way, because maybe I could get paid to go hunt some goblins.
Okay. Are you just sort of speaking loudly to whoever's around you to sort of arouse attention, or are you like?
There's probably other travelers. You said that a lot of the different people that work at the market have caravanned in and come to this particular hotel, the Buddha's Rest. So I'm kind of talking to them like, hey, do you guys have any trouble on the road? Like, we ran into this. We lost Pete. He was a great guy. He put his neck out there to help us. And every time somebody from our little farm village that paid us comes up, I'll get them a drink and like, oh, tell them, got attacked by goblins. Just trying to like get the talk of the town, because I'm in Tina's head. Like, that's the way you spurn business, is like make people think, oh shit, there's goblins out there. These people they all know confirm it. Somebody's gonna hire us, right?
Right. So
I don't know if there'd be any opportunity to kind of spurn business that way. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. You're met with a couple different reactions. And as the night wears on, there's a really mixed type of clientele here. There's local merchants, local business people. There's the travelers like the group that you're with. And then there are some other adventurer types, some other people who are just basically muscle working with the other traveling groups. The travelers, essentially the bumpkins, are all like in awe of what you're saying. Like, oh man, goblins, it must have been scary. We would love to have some security. Let me talk to my group, and they're kind of caucusing to figure out what they need. The adventurers and the merchants. Well, actually, I might have you carouse here. Isn't that a
carouse takes 100 gold, 100 coin? I was thinking about trying to push a carouse. I can't quite trigger that move, so I'm just kind of trying to get around it by just causing a stir.
Right.
Maybe if somebody wanted to get talked into hiring, like I could try a parlay move to try and talk somebody to it, and that would have a chance of spinning out. If somebody was anxious about the goblins and knew they were traveling through goblin territory, I could try and convince them to hire us.
Well, you're definitely arousing attention, but it's a mix of sort of fear and awe from the people who are less worldly, and then you've got some of the merchants and some of these other adventurers who don't seem to quite believe you, who are like, this is a goblin country. This is, maybe you saw something like I don't know, whatever.
This might be an opportunity, because we don't necessarily need to get put onto a goblin hunting job now. We're just looking for a thing to coalesce, right? We have a bunch of opportunities. We're not sure what's going to happen next. Either Jessica or I or you. It seems like we're just kind of like, it's fruitful. Let's see what's going to happen. If you roll that GM move just to see something, what that'll do is it'll put some action on the table for us all to respond to. So I've created a semi-tense situation. Depending on what your move is, somebody in the crowd might react. It could be for us, against us.
Right. Okay. I had to roll a few times because a couple times it said, use a monster in this location.
Goblins attack. That's the whole story. Weird shit can happen like that. 3 goblins on each other's shoulders wearing a big trench coat are sitting in the corner drinking. And we have to fight the Muppets creature.
Right. Like on each other's shoulders, and they've got the hat and the sunglasses. Okay. How do we think I want to do this? Okay. So as you're sort of telling your stories, drawing attention, there is a sort of a rowdy group of, you could call them adventurers. They're muscle, basically. They're paid security, but not as skilled as you guys. They're just sort of brawlers, brutes, kind of down a few seats at the bar, drinking, shaking their heads. One of them downs his beard, kind of rubs a big bristly beard, downs his beer, rubs a big bristly beard, and he's like, "Honey, I don't know if you think you know what you're talking about, but goblins don't live around here. You're trying to scare all these people into giving you money, but there's no goblins here." And he kind of chunks down a handful of coins to get another round for he and his group. They're all having a little laugh at your expense.
I'm gonna grin real big, and I'm just gonna make eye contact with Jenka. Like, you see that I'm doing some shit. Like, it's on you to call me to stop it or not. And I'm gonna stand up and say, "You are real astute to say goblins don't live around here because we only left one alive. There's only one out there in the woods right now, but where there's one, there's gonna be more." And gonna kind of get in his face and just kind of try and intimidate him a little bit. Not necessarily getting him to accept my story, but I want the crowd around us to see me kind of almost jovially challenge him to call me a liar. You know, I'm kind of welcoming him to call me a liar. And I'm going to drop my name a lot. Jenka, like Tina and Jenka were there to save him, and those boys over there can tell you we lost a friend. The threat is real.
I think I'm going to walk up, overhearing everything that Tina was saying to the group, and I'm just going to ask them, "So, how much is the head of a goblin worth? Considering that you say that there aren't any in the area."
You guys find me the head of a goblin, I'll buy a round for this whole bar. And Chunk, I'll give you my battle axe. That's how sure I know that you're not going to find one.
Tell me you saved a goblin head. I'm actually turning to her like, "Tell me you saved a goblin head."
Ladies, goblins.
Would Jenka have actually saved a goblin's head? I would not have. I think it's a cool scene, but would that kind of would establish a thing about Jenka that we may not want to establish? Or maybe what?
Like a what is it? Like a voodoo priestess or something.
Yeah. No, you know what? She did. So the head falls on the top of the table, just because she does magic and occasionally you'll need weird shit. Maybe she thought like the blood. Yeah.
So I think that becomes the thing about Jenka, that like if she ever gets stopped by the authorities and searched, she's got some weird shit in her pockets, right?
Right.
That's cool. It's about Dungeon World.
So he hit this kind of shit-eating grin on his face just drops. And he...
What did he say his name was?
He didn't.
Oh, so I thought you said something in Chunk, or was it the sound? Was that an onomatopoeia?
That was the sound of his. It was like chunk. The sound of his axe hitting the bar. And he sort of kind of reaches for it, but you just hear the clang as he fumbles and it hits the ground because he's so shocked.
Does he look like a kind of tough character?
You know, he looks like a guy you wouldn't want to tangle with in a bar fight. You know, he's doesn't look like he's got any skill. Doesn't look like you know.
Against some goblins, like if we'd had him there in the caravan, it would have made things a little bit lighter for us, though.
Sure, yeah, he's definitely more skilled than the kids driving the caravan. But
just to let you know where I'm going with this, I'm looking at the special moves recruit, where you try and hire a hireling. Depending on how this plays out with him, what I might try and do is like we've turned your head, like you need to keep that axe because you're coming hunting with us. Sure. And try and talk him into joining us as like a hireling on a goblin hunt.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that just yet, but that's kind of where I'm thinking. So if you want to have that move recruit open, I'm just going to be mindful of if that's a thing that he'd be willing to do. Even maybe he just wouldn't be available.
That's a yeah.
It's under special moves. It's right below carouse.
I gotcha.
Couple moves.
Yep. Well,
so yeah, what's his reaction to that head dropping in front of him?
He reaches for his axe just out of reflex, but he's so kind of shaken and taken aback by it that he, like, it slides off the edge of the bar as he tries to grab for it, and it clangs on the ground, and he kind of takes a step back.
In front of the whole crowd, I'm going to pick the goblin head up by the hair, kind of hold it up like a puppet show. Like, I won't hurt you, mister. I ain't got no body. And I'm going to kind of turn and smile to the crowd like, yeah, this one's no threat anymore, and set it back down. Actually, I'll hand it back to Jake. And like, why do you have this? No, Charlie, it's okay. Is that Charlie or is that Michael?
That's Charlie. She's upstairs.
Nightmares?
I think so. Yeah. Let's see. She might settle down here in a minute. And Cassie's up there too.
Do you want to take a quick little break?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and take like 10, and I'll be back at 10:15.
Excellent.
Okay.
See you guys in a bit.
All right. Bye.
Hello.
Hello. Charlie is back asleep, or was still asleep, I guess.
Is it a nightmare?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so. I need to play some music in the background.
There's a jukebox. You can do that. I think anything that's on SoundCloud you can play. Or it used to be SoundCloud. I'm not sure it is now.
I don't even know how SoundCloud works.
As I understand it, it's a platform where people can upload their own music, and you don't you give up any rights to it, so anybody can use it. So it's kind of like you probably won't find much commercial stuff on there, but a lot of people that do like sound engineering will put sound effects or thematic or stuff like that.
Got it. I wasn't going to bother you guys with any music. I was just going to put something on to have it in my own background. Mm-hmm.
I one time was running the game and I'd found a sound effect for like a monster roar, like a T-Rex roar, like just a weird roar.
Yeah.
And I had it play. Like I was just fucking around with it. And I wasn't really paying attention, and I clicked it. And do you remember Josh Ramsey from World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
It did this like roar, like this weird sound. And Josh just got real quiet. What the fuck was that? Crashing out. Oh, that was on the computer. I was playing that sound.
Isn't he the one that lives sort of up here, sort of near me?
No, he's down here in the valley with me.
Okay.
Up there was Bane and Temujin's, I think.
Okay.
There were a couple people in the St. Louis area, but
I mainly remember your roommate, and there's one of the guys who I remember just because he had a really crazy name. I always thought Gravy Pants was a really silly name.
That was Allie. That was a funny name. He was a good friend of mine.
Gravy Pants.
Why was he Gravy Pants?
We're recording right now. I can't tell you, but I can't tell you it wasn't even sexual. It was just a dumb thing that we were all intoxicated. I can say we were intoxicated and misheard him say something else. Like, did you just say your name is Gravy Pants? We were all pretty loaded and thought it was funny. And it stuck.
What was he trying to say?
We were all pretty loaded. I have no idea what he's trying to say.
Maybe Gravy Pants.
Could have been.
All right. Let's see if we can get on track. Okay. So I think when we left off, you guys had just presented a goblin head to this battle axe wielding or battle axe dropping bearded gentleman. You haven't seen him wield it, just seen him drop it. And that's where we left off. Oh, and I guess you did like a marionette show with it as well.
Yeah. And then I turned in front of the crowd, turned to Jenko, why do you have this thing? Oh, that blood is still fresh and sticky. Oh. Ugh. Wipe my hands.
Okay, so the bearded guy just looks at you guys and he's like, "You two are fucking crazy. Where did you
Hey,
get that?
you never know when you'll need good goblin blood to do a spell.
Sure.
I just want to point out one of my bonds is Jenkins Vale's ways are strange and confusing. When she says that, so she says.
Indeed. Where'd you guys get that?
We were attacked on the road by.
Goblins.
I count to 6 and like a dozen of these guys, I think. It was so fast I didn't stop to count all of them, but apparently one hitched a ride.
Oh.
We even let one of them go to tell his kinfolk that we're not to be messed with.
I've never heard of goblins anywhere near here.
Well, now you have.
Well, I don't know what that means. You know, they're from weeks, months travel away from here.
Sensing that there might be like some real concern from him, and maybe he's somebody that would know what to do about it, I'm going to call up the guys from our caravan. Hey, tell them what happened. Tell them what we saw, and just kind of like a montage or however you want to handle it.
Yeah, they relay the story in less spectacular fashion than you have been. More just a recitation of the facts of what happened. And he wouldn't believe it unless it had been corroborated like that. You know, I mean, he believes it. He sees what he believes. But if he hadn't seen it, he would believe it. You know, it's and they came from either side of your caravan and just attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And they were strapped. They were hanging off the sides of their wolves. I've heard of these little monkeys, and I've never heard them doing something smart. But yeah, they had a plan. They knew what they were doing.
Doesn't sound like any goblins I've heard of either. This is bad. This is bad. Bad omen.
I'm gonna kind of pull my sword out, not threatening, just kind of like lift it out, and kind of put it on the ground in front of me, and say, "Omens. Sometimes the best thing to do is head them off with a pass."
What are you saying?
I'm saying we've already struck first. We need to find them. We need to ferret them out, drive them back to their mountains. Who makes the decisions around here? I don't think it's you.
She does. He points to the bartender.
Has she been watching us at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, you're sort of the center of attention in the place once you pull out a goblin head. That sort of ends the party, or starts the party, maybe. But yeah, everybody's eyes are on you guys at the moment. You're sort of the spectacle of it. And she's, hands on the bar, kind of, squared up to the spot where you guys are, just watching all this go down. Says, Claire over there is in charge of everything around here.
I'm gonna call it Mistress Clara. You need to hear what we have to say and decide what this town can do before it's overrun. And I'm heightening, like I'm intentionally heightening up like the immediate threat to the village.
Sure.
Just stir up work, and I'm gonna drop my name and Jenka's. You, for a limited time only, you have Tina and the Sorceress Supreme, Jenka Vales. Just happen to be sitting in your bar when this threat darkens your doorstep. We didn't bring it, but we can end it. And I looked down at Jenka.
He's saying it's a limited offer. Take it or leave it.
The bartender's nodding as you're saying this. She's like, all right. You can put your friend away. And she's...
Oh, yeah.
Put it back in my
I've been
bag.
sort of when you put the head away. We're not sure what she was talking about, but it was one of the two.
And she's sort of kind of absentmindedly polishing a glass as she's talking to you guys, just kind of on autopilot physically. Yeah, I mean, if I can't imagine what's going on, but if there's goblins around here, we need to know more. We need to take care of them. It sounds like you guys just volunteered.
I think it's important to get away from the if language.
Yeah.
I'll point down, at the sack full of goblin head.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. We need to know more about what's going on. Was it just a small group here? What's the situation? And I think the two of you need to go investigate, figure out what's happening. And I think it's my job to make it worth your while, right?
Yeah.
So I look to you, and you're going along with this, Jinka?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'll kind of nod to her and say, we're listening.
Well, let's do this. I want you guys to find out what these goblins are up to, why they're here. And we'll make it worth your while for, let's say, 25 gold pieces a head that you bring back to me.
Does this head already count as one?
No. I mean, if you think the two of you can handle it.
Oh, there's no question, but we can handle some goblins. The question is, is it for half a head and up, or how do we measure? Because I might not bring them all back in one piece, but I'm honest as the day is long. I'm not going to try and double our take. But I tend to make a mess. This one, she took that one. I left little bits of head kind of scattered around. And maybe let's get one of your witnesses. And what was the bearded guy's name? Did we get a name from him yet?
Not yet.
Is he good with that axe? I'm not asking him. I'm asking Clara. Is he good with that axe?
He's good. Yeah. She kind of shrugs her shoulders a little bit. There's like this wounded look from him.
I'm gonna.
He's good.
I'm gonna kind of look to her, and then to him, and then kind of speak in front of the bar, and say, "We're gonna go out there and we're gonna find some goblins, and I think even more, we're gonna come back and let Clara know what they're planning, and whether they're a threat here. But somebody that's invested, somebody that lives here, somebody that's got home and kin in these hills." Needs to come with us, needs to come and see what we've seen. I'll take you out there. I'll get you home. Your job is going to be to lend in if we need it, where you can, and to come back and tell Clara what you saw, and maybe count the heads we take in case we don't want to carry them all back here. I'm trying to throw out that recruit.
Each of you roll me a D100.
Okay. We got 79.
Okay. 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 Right. Things are so strange. Nobody is stepping up to the plate. There's just a hush. And Clara slides a beer towards the bearded guy and goes, Braxton, it looks like you're the one. You're in. He just shakes his head, grabs the beer, throws it back. I don't know why you let me do this fucking shit. Okay, so I'm on goblin duty with you. What do we do from here? We got to find goblins now, right? We got to kill goblins. We got to interrogate goblins. We got to, I don't know, and learn about goblins. What do we?
I'm gonna.
He seems a lot of bluster, but he also doesn't seem like the brightest guy you've ever met.
I'm gonna get ask Clara for a little. I don't know whether they'd have like paper or a little slate and chalk. I basically want to get him something that he can use to make tallies with, and kind of show him like here, like so when I kill a goblin, you do this. When she kills a goblin, you do this. And I'm just gonna like kind of smart ass him a little bit, but like your job is just to count. I'm gonna get you back safe.
He kind of else not so good at the math as he's teeth are a little bit more pointy than rounded.
Like he's some sort of half orc or something.
That'd be a good guess. He's not big and hulking and tall, but he just has some sort of bestial, almost kind of Cro-Magnon features, and that he would be half orc is that'd be a good assumption. Maybe a little more subtle than the big kind of gray-green looking guy, but as you look closer, he's got a kind of pronounced brow. His ears are slightly pointed.
Tell you what, Braxton, you let me keep the count. You just keep me honest, and you stay nearby without getting in the way. How's that?
I can do that. I've never been a goblin hunter before. Yeah, I guess we do this, and Tina pays you guys, and I don't know, maybe I get a promotion or something.
Yeah, and I'm going to be interested in talking to Braxton more when we get out of the bar, where I'm not. Right now I'm kind of trying to embarrass him and stuff. But once we get on the road,
sure,
pull the story from him. Well, I think it'd be foolish to set off at night. We've only just awoken ourselves, so we're fresh. But nighttime is goblin time, is what they say. How about tomorrow morning we start bright and early? You
sure.
go kiss your family good night. Tell them you'll be back in a week's time.
He looks to the kind of other guys he's been drinking with. I gotta kiss him.
Your family's pretty cute. Meet us out front first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And
okay.
Clara, it would be a little bit quicker if you could spare us some horses to get out there. We'll maybe we'll drag some back with us too if you need to ask some questions.
I'm just in the bar business. She's got kind of a grin when she says that. But I might know some people.
Okay. But whenever we get gathered up in the morning, we'll take it.
Okay.
And
Fair
Jessica,
enough.
do you have any stuff that you'd want to do in this scene before?
No, not really. I think maybe before we head out, probably want to buy maybe 2 more of those healing potions if I can. I don't know how much they're worth piece, but
Maybe up to Josh to decide like how prevalent stuff like that is in the small cities. Maybe they do have like an alchemist or a herbalist that does stuff like that. Maybe they have herbs and poultices available, but not potions.
Yeah, I think you could find potions in a town this size. I think they'd be pretty pricey. I'd say you could probably buy 1 with the 20 gold that you've got.
okay.
And it would probably be cheaper and easier to find if you're in a little bit bigger city.
Okay, then I'll just hold off on it.
Do I know that you're worried about that?
No, it's not really something that I'm worried about. It was just hoping that I could get another one since I only have two, for the hopes that if anything bad happens to Brax, we'll have an extra healing potion to take care of him. That way we can get a little bit of his trust.
Would there be herbs and poultices available?
Oh yeah.
I think in the there should be a list with sheet. I don't know the price, but it's in the book.
Oh yeah. I'm totally making up prices.
And you're welcome to make them. You actually, if you do look at how to make a steading, like now that we've kind of established we'll be coming back to Eldenshire, it might be worth looking at the steading creation rules and just kind of coming up with very basic. It's not. It takes like 10 minutes to sketch together a steading, but that can help you decide what is for sale and whether it's really expensive.
Yeah, it's okay for right now.
You found a little goblin baby.
I did.
Hey, cutie.
He's not happy right now because he's hungry.
Mm-hmm.
But I can feed him while we play. Just gotta start a timer. I come prepared.
I'm gonna see in my book real quick.
You're gonna look and be like, "Oh yeah, 20 gold pieces is what healing potions are." Sure.
No, I'm just gonna get a page number once I get to. So typically, healing potions are 50, but again, you can kind of set the currency what you want. Maybe if they give it to her for 20, it's because like somebody's afraid, like a mysterious benefactor throws it in. Yeah. Herbs and poultices for 2 uses, it's usually 10 coin. And they heal 7 damage each use.
But they take time to use, right?
Yeah, you have to like apply them, so you have to have a moment of safety to kind of slap them on. Because a potion is down anywhere. Potions can also either heal 10 damage or remove a debility, whereas poultices and herbs only heal 7 damage. They're not used against abilities.
Okay.
But yeah, if herbs and poultices are available, I'd gladly spend 10 coin to get 2 uses.
They are. You can easily find them.
I'm going to add that to my gear.
Yeah. And you can, I mean, as many as you want to buy, you can buy for whatever gold you have left.
I can only afford the one. But Jessica, do you want to get some also? If you don't need a full 10 hit points back, it might be a little more economic.
Okay, so I'll go down to 9, and then I'm adding poultice.
It's called. I'll type it in here real quick. Give me in the chat.
Herbs and poultry. That's something different. Not even a smile for my terrible joke.
Tough crowd. What can I say?
Right.
What the other thing I was going to say? Oh, maybe if it would help, I can make a little handout that has the equipment price list from the book. And then once I make that, Josh should be able to change the prices that he sees fit, but that way we'll have kind of consistent prices.
Kind of a baseline.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go shopping for your 7 herbs and poultices, 7 herbs and spices. You're tripping, man. And then enjoy the rounds that Braxton has to buy for the entire room. And kind of fade the scene out for the evening.
Okay.
Okay. And then it's kind of up to you as the GM to decide, like, is there something interesting in the morning when we gather our stuff, or did we kind of assume that we know that we got what we wanted and we just kind of push on? Like, what's the next interesting scene to explore?
I mean, it seems to me the next interesting thing is to figure out a lead of where you guys need to head.
My thought would be just to return to the scene where we got ambushed
Mhm.
and try and track that one. It's been a day. We'll have a day's lead on us, but
Yeah.
try and track it through. Now, that said, I'm not a tracker and I wouldn't pretend to be. I don't know if the elf would have any magic that could help us, or if maybe that would be a thing that we could try and recruit. Maybe Braxton could do that, or you got any spells that help with that, Jessica?
That's what I'm looking at.
Contact spirits. Maybe one of the spirits that did goblins, and we can try and talk to them.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Do you have contact spirits in your spellbook? You probably took 3 at character creation. I know you took magic missile and alarm. What was the other one you took? Oh, charm person.
Yeah.
I jumped ahead though. I need to get out of Josh's way and let him frame the scene. I don't know where we are.
Well, when you came out in the morning, Braxton was there waiting for you, and there were 3 horses equipped, stocked, ready to go, waiting there with him. He was kind of holding the leads on all 3 of them, just kicking dirt, waiting for you guys to show up. You without all the carts, without the caravan, you can make fairly quick travel out to the scene of where you were in a couple of hours. You're not moving at a mule's pace. You're moving at a rested horse on a path. Makes a difference. Braxton's not a tracker either. But you, as you approach the spot, you recognize where it is. You see the disturbance. And again, as you approach that spot, things just get quiet. Things seem eerie. You don't hear or see anything suspicious off the bat. Nothing like immediately draws your attention unless you start to look around for things. But it is that sort of, static in the air sort of feeling that you felt before the last ambush.
Could I possibly try to do detect magic?
Sure.
I would do what would it be?
You will cast a spell from your moves.
Cast a spell first.
Your spell works, but you have to choose one of those 3 things, and then click on your dispel magic so we see that text also.
Come here, buddy. Ugh.
It's a good burp.
He doesn't mess around, man.
Oh, what spell do you have attuned to magic?
I'm sorry?
One of your senses is briefly attuned to magic. What sense do you get attuned to magic?
I'm gonna say my nose. And then I'm gonna go ahead and also do the last one where after it is cast, the spell's forgotten and you can't cast a spell again until you prepare spells.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So when you detect magic and it's attuned to your sense of smell, what does magic smell like to Jenka?
It's gonna smell kind of industrial since trying to keep up with a steampunk type of scenario. So probably like steam and rust.
Some kind of lubricants,
Yeah.
motor oil. Not that.
Okay. So you take a moment, you cast your spell, and do you have one of your ancient devices that you use to sort of cast this?
Let's find one real quick. Let's go. Yeah, let's go with this one. Don't know if I can post it in.
Maybe if Josh gives you a journal entry, under the player characters, just create a handout that she can control. And she might be able to paste pictures into it.
Under characters?
I'm trying to think of. I don't see the GM screen right now. Can I reload as a GM real quick?
Yeah. I honestly haven't used anything on the GM screen other than posting these photos that you guys see.
So when you're on the journal tab, you click Add.
Okay.
And I think it'll say Add a handout.
Are you doing that
And
now, or should I
move
be
it.
doing that?
No, you should do it. Add a handout, and then you'll get like a mysterious note, I think it'll say.
Uh-huh.
Add it, just move it underneath Jenka's character. You can drag it and kind of drop it underneath her character. And then when you click on it to the little pop-up, click on Edit, and put Can Be Edited By, just assign it to her. And she should be able to drag and drop pictures in there.
I don't see
at least one picture.
I don't see how to move it. Sorry.
I'm going to try it real quick. Yeah, so I just kind of left click on the icon to its left, like where the pictures are for us. Left click, hold the left click, and then drop it.
I was actually trying to move the physical thing.
Oh, no.
Like
Yeah, it's got to be on that.
Okay.
So now it's underneath her. So, Jenka, which item is this?
To detect magic.
I'm just going to rename it Detect Magic real quick. Then all players' journals, but Jessica can edit it. You should see Detect Magic now.
Yeah.
If you open it, can you drag the image that you found into it? So open it and click Edit.
Hold on. Okay.
I'm going to rejoin as a player.
And done. Okay.
So
Oh, okay.
pretty much could
Looks like a
do
Game
those
Boy.
for each of her.
That's cool.
Yeah, and if you give her one of those kind of for each spell, if, we don't need to right now,
Right.
but maybe between sessions, just kind of create a handout.
Okay.
And there might be a way to put them all in one handout. I'm not sure. Or maybe we can create a folder that she can put them in.
Okay. So you get out your device and you cast your spell. And as you cast it, the gears whir a little bit, the screen flickers, and you start to get a sense of, that it's working. And then the device powers down, so you can tell, due to your roll, that this is your use of the spell, and then you're going to have to sort of recharge this before you can use it again. But you feel kind of 360 degrees around you, kind of, it's almost like a radar sweeping and looking. And in the direction that the one goblin ran, you get this whiff of just like solvent, like polished steel, like WD-40, wafting out in the woods, but close, 50, 60 feet and down, like ground level. And you feel like you might see movement out in that direction. You can't tell what it is, but there's something out there that is like just right at the edge of your field of vision.
Okay.
Minus some sort of investigation.
I'm probably going to go ahead and start just running in that direction. And, to Tina, I got the trail. And Tina's probably going to be pissed because I'm not even, trying to, figure out a plan in that instant. I'm just, going head first into who knows what.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I'm just, running over. Not even a really good pathway. It's just, grass and trees and not really paying attention to my underfoot. So.
Okay. This is what we call when the players give you a golden opportunity, Josh.
Mm-hmm. I can't call for rolls necessarily.
If she's doing something that provokes a move, you would say, yeah, you're doing that thing. But she's kind of rushing in. She's not trying to defy any danger. She's not trying to discern reality. She's not really trying to spot more and you can also inquire her, well, what's your intent? Is it to flesh out the danger? Is it or are you just rushing to surprise them? You might look at your monster moves and see if there's anything that they would have that they would react to because she's handing you a golden opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You might spring an ambush on her, or you might just roll a DM move and or a GM move and see what it inspires you to do.
Okay. So as you go sprinting, you see in an arc in front of you, like a 30-degree arc, movement, and it's almost like if you saw dominoes fall, where it starts on one end and it's kind of flickers across. You see the bushes flash and move, and you see something shorter than the underbrush, maybe goblin height. So what you're searching for would be a decent guess. Bolt from each of them. You see 8. The one in the center, it's 9 because it's 4, 4, and the one in the middle, you actually see a goblin head sticking out from the underbrush, a little taller than the rest, shooting out away from you, fleeing. So
I'm gonna.
the one in the middle is elevated somehow, though, high enough that you can see it.
Okay, so I just lost my my detect magic, but that doesn't mean that I lost my magic missile, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then I'll go ahead and I'll try to do magic missile then.
Okay.
So cast a spell first, and then
And you're still chasing?
yeah. So I'm kind of running in that direction.
Okay.
I'll go with the unwelcome attention,
Okay.
and then let me roll magic missile.
Oh, before you do, I think all the darts go into one target, right? Yeah,
Huh?
to one target. All the damage goes to a single target. You don't designate different
Right.
targets. So you just did 3 damage against one target.
Okay.
Okay. So you fire the magic missile out of it was out of like a flashlight kind of thing, right?
Oh, like a watch thingy.
Oh,
yeah.
like a stopwatch. That's right. It flips open, fires the magic missile out. It springs forward in a beam and just clips this goblin right in the back of the head. And you see it go tumbling off of whatever it was sitting on and skidding to a halt on the ground, not moving. And you see whatever it was sitting on still kind of creating a wake through the bushes as it just flies forward. And the other goblins are still running as well.
Okay.
Or whatever the things are. You assume they're goblins.
I think I'm probably just gonna do it again until one of them comes and tries to attack me.
Okay. So
or until Tina catches up.
And you have longer legs than them, so you're chasing to try and outpace them, to try and catch up as you're okay.
Yeah. So
Go ahead and fire one more, and then we'll resolve that and click over to Tina. Okay. And I still have the bad spot that you were in before that I haven't resolved yet. Keep that in mind before you choose which penalty on this one.
okay.
So just
I
be
think
the
you
first.
put magic missile twice. Yeah, just the first
Yeah.
one that count.
Okay. So yeah, another beam fires out to the goblin just to the right of the one you'd hit before, and again, you hit it. You see a skid, and then it stops. As you're running forward, making chase after these, you hear to your right and your left disturbances from the bushes, and you see again. It's almost like a Jaws movie with the fin sticking out of the ground. You see 2 wakes through the bushes on each side of you, kind of careening in. It's almost like they've led you into a pinch point, and there's goblins now pinching in for each side of you.
Okay.
And with that, Tina, you've seen this. You've seen Jenka rush off in a direction, start firing magic missiles, and now you see, 2 unseen attackers kind of charging in on either side of her.
I
So
think
2 and 2, not 1 of them.
as she jumps off, you dismounted, right? You jumped off the horse and ran after him. And as she runs off alone into the woods after God knows what, because I haven't seen the goblins, I'm just going to kind of shrug ruefully at Braxton and say, well, she's the brains. And then I'll dismount and I'll start marching after, and I'm just getting ready to holler, damn it, Jenka, and then she starts like firing off missiles. So I'll unlimber my sword and start kind of going out there, and then like about the moment that I see them converging on her and realize like, oh, it is goblins and they are on her butt. I'm gonna just kind of shout out to them, hey, you little green bastards. Trying to think of something. I would say something about this. Here's the sword that stopped the last band of you. Come and take it. And I'm going to try and invoke, or I'm going to invoke my the upper. No, what are you waiting for?
Okay.
Where I try and get them all to like divert to me.
Mm-hmm.
So roll a 5. I get an XP
Level.
So I will level when we get a moment to level. But in the meantime, I completely fail to intimidate them, and Braxton gets to witness my silliness.
And you notice, because they're sort of converging in to the side and behind her a little bit. Like she saw the movement and can assume what it is. You see, though, that it is one of the 4. You can kind of see the head poking out from the underbrush, like he's elevated on something. Mm-hmm. Could be a warg, could be something, but he's moving forward a little bit above the rest. And they hear what you're saying. You see him kind of look back over his shoulder and then steal his eyes back on Jinka and keep moving forward at her.
And there's no kind of diversion toward me that I see. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to, I think, whip a dagger at the one that looks like the closest to her.
Okay.
And then just kind of charge headlong up and try and stand defense.
Okay. So go ahead and do a volley for the dagger throw.
Another XP.
So yeah, your dagger goes careening off into the woods, thunks into a tree just off to the side. Does not disturb the goblin approach.
And I'm going to point to it like, I'm going to kill you with that dagger in a minute. And then run up there.
Okay.
Is anybody going to hit me or anything for that? Or so I've had two fails in a row.
Yeah.
And they've been a little bit embarrassing, but you might, if you're not inspired with a direct thing to do to me, you might just hit that GM moves.
Yeah, because I'm not.
And think of a way to turn the pressure up on me.
Well, not all the GM moves are bad. Okay, here we go. So you see the sort of the wakes in the bush, in the underbrush, run past the tree just as they're running, and you see a little green hand reach up and grab the knife and just throw it back at you.
Okay. And so what?
Sorry, go ahead.
Like I would probably roll their damage and then take that damage against myself.
Okay. So it's 1d6.
So I take 3, but I have 1 armor, so I take 2 hit points damage.
But on the good note, you have your dagger back.
I just have to remove it from its new sheath.
Right.
Happens to be my thigh.
And so the goblins that are at ground level, that are on their 2 feet, you would guess, are not gaining on Jinka. She's gaining on the ones in front of her. The ones that are chasing her are keeping pace at best, maybe falling behind. The one that's elevated a little bit is gaining on her. You judge you could probably catch it. It's not moving faster than you could move. But you do see what it is. Are you familiar with steeplechase? Do you know what that is? It's like a horse racing event where the horses are there and they have that kind of cart behind them.
Okay.
Have you seen that before?
Yeah, I'm very familiar.
So you basically have a warg with a little steeplechase cart behind it, with a goblin kind of holding the reins, driving this cart. So he's using the warg almost like a horse to kind of move him along more quickly.
Almost like a chariot.
And he has a spear kind of down at his side that he's readying to throw. And you'd mentioned that you wanted to go try to use the defend move. You could cut the distance and do that, or you could cut the distance and try and make an attack on any of these guys if you want.
No, I think first and foremost, I want to try and get into a position to try and defend Jenka.
Mhm.
And so I would try and just haul ass and beat them all to her and be in a position to help her.
Okay, so you're going to try and run up to basically be running alongside her.
Yeah, and like as anybody comes up to approach her, I'll be in the way.
Okay.
Try and roll a defend.
Yeah.
I got it. I only hold one. But I do it. So as long as I keep pace with her, I have one hold.
Okay.
And if something comes in to attack her, I can redirect it to myself, or I can have the damage it does. Or
Okay. All right. Braxton is following your lead and kind of running in as well. As he's running in, he goes ahead and takes a swipe at one of the random goblins that's not on a cart. And we'll say he hits it and kills it. They don't have very many hit points.
I'm going to
he's
yell
able
out. That's one for Braxton. You get
25 for him.
You get your share of the coin.
Okay, let's go back to Jenka. So you're giving chase. You've got 8 goblins, 4 and 4, and then this cart in the middle that you knock the goblin off of is still barreling forward, and they seem to be trying to keep pace with that one, and are kind of running in formation alongside of it. Even though you knock the goblin off, something's still steering it, and they're definitely in a formation to try and follow and maybe be fodder for that.
Okay.
And you hear shouting coming from that cart in a language you don't understand. Kind of a high-pitched voice, but it's just some sort of, it's yelling out commands in Goblin.
Is there any way that maybe I can try to attack it with maybe a hack and slash or a volley, or I'm still too far away?
You're close enough, but you don't see anything. You knocked the goblin off of it, but you're still hearing a voice from it.
In the middle of combat, you can try and discern realities and things too.
Yeah, I think that's probably my best bet. If I can't see it, then I'll just discern reality.
Okay. Okay. So you get 1 question.
What here is valuable to me?
What here is useful or valuable to me? So clearly whatever is on that middle rickshaw type of cart is in charge, right? It's shouting out commands to these other goblins. And the whole reason you're out here is to figure out why these goblins are out here. That seems to be the one that's orchestrating whatever's happening. So figuring out a way to see what that is, who that is, whether it's a goblin, whether it's not. All the other goblins here are kind of extraneous. That's the information that you need.
Okay.
Is that helpful? Andy, is that a fair answer to that question, or is that kind of obvious anyways?
No, I think that really, up until now, the cart could have been anything, but through answering that question, we've solidified for you and for the players, that cart is the key to figuring this out. All the other goblins are
ransom for you
secondary
guys.
objectives. Yeah, they're just to pad the wallet. We need whatever's on that cart if we're going to make progress. I think that's fair.
Yep.
So what do you do with that information, Jessica?
I want to try to stop the cart. The only way I know how to do that would be another magic missile.
Okay. You're gonna fire one at the cart.
Can you shoot magic missile at a thing, or does it have to be a person? Double check the spell. Might just be a target. Might be fine.
Projectile of pure magic spring from your fingers, deal 2d4 damage to one target.
No, be a target.
Okay.
All right, well, let's see what I do.
Okay. Which of the effects are you going to choose?
The Fabric of Reality one.
Okay, so you'll take -1 on casting spells until you prepare spells.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so your magic missile fires out into the bushes or into the underbrush, hits this cart. You see wood splinter and a wheel kind of flip up in the air, and the shouting is going on in Goblin. It's, maybe sounds like an angry German person's like, and then you hear your missile hits, the wheel flips up in the air, and you hear, "Oh fuck," and something skitters off, flipping off the side of the cart into the bushes.
Decidedly not in Goblin.
Yes.
Have we understood language?
Absolutely. Okay. And the other goblins just keep shooting forward, and you can see the cart is kind of bumping up and down out of the bushes now as the work continues to pull it forward. Whatever passenger was on it is off, and they're all just still in flight mode.
Okay.
And the passenger was heavy enough to keep that cart stabilized, so it's now it's kind of wild.
Well, it's more wild now because it's missing a wheel, right?
Oh,
and so,
okay.
like, the side of it is just like thumping up and down on roots and branches and things.
Just gonna try to finish off that last little sprint to get to wherever that creature was that fell down on the ground.
Okay.
Get a closer inspection of it. So.
Okay. And the goblins that were up to either side of you, seeing what's happened, also shoot straight forward. They try to shoot past you and follow their compatriots. I don't know if you guys are going to try and take any swipes at them as they go by, or if they're just going to let them flee and investigate what came off the cart.
They're not directly moving on Jenka, so my defend wouldn't really trigger, right?
No, they're
just trying to get faster.
They're in flight mode.
I'm gonna just kind of call over my shoulder, Braxton, let him go. We need this thing.
Okay.
We'll catch them later.
Okay.
And stay with Jenka.
Right. So as you guys approach forward, at the base of a tree, one of the larger trees in the forest, probably not one that you could get your arms around, the trunk. You walk up expecting to see, some sort of beast, some sort of being. At the base of the tree, you see what looks like sort of a crudely made doll, like a crudely made little thing. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, a face, hair, made out of just clay and cloth and string. And it's kind of propped up against the side of the tree. Still, just laying still. Looks like a little man.
Is it moving or is it just fully still?
Fully still. Just looks like a little boy or a little man, a little male effigy.
Can I sprout lore?
Okay.
pretend like I know something about this.
It's a perfect use of spot lore. So 6 minus though. Are you
So
interested in taking the XP or in me trying to help you in some way?
Mm,
Because I could roll an 8 to give you a +1, which brings that to a 7. Or you can take the hit, the miss, and get the XP from it.
yeah, go ahead and help aid me if you can.
Okay. So, Tina, how would you try and aid in this situation?
What is it you're doing to spot lore, Jessica? Like, how do you actually start like looking at it?
I'm just trying using previous knowledge. It reminds me of a certain creature. It seems like a golem, like something put magic into it, but I can't remember what it is specifically. So
Thank you. As she's looking at it, I'm going to be kind of poking it with my. Actually, I'll pull that dagger out, like staunch the blood, and then use my bloody dagger to kind of flip the thing around a little bit and see if I can find any sort of markings or anything on it to help kind of prompt her memory for a specific answer.
Okay.
Roll aid or interfere. And
Man, you are an XP machine.
that wouldn't be right though because I have 2 bonds with her, and it didn't prompt me for a question.
Okay.
It would have been a 7 because it would have been the 5.
Okay.
If you look at the dice, I rolled 1 + 4. Then I would have added 2 for the bonds, so I would be at a 2 at a cost of on a 7 or 9. They take +1.
Mhm.
I expose myself to danger, retribution, or cost. So she does get a +1, but I also am in danger if something happens here.
Okay. So you go to flip it with your dagger, just kind of like move it around, and as you do, you kind of go to like flip it over, almost like you would a pancake, and it jumps up to its feet and it kicks your dagger, and it kind of flips in your hand and cuts you. So go ahead and roll 1d4.
Okay. And I do have a defense. I'm kind of saying defense over veils.
Mhm.
If that prompts, I would probably want to use my hold to give her a +1 forward. One of the options for defend is open up the attacker to an ally, giving that ally +1 forward against the attacker. It's like, well, the dagger flips up and cuts my hand.
Mhm.
I would maybe swat it against a tree or otherwise kind of like just give
Push
her
it
a +1 on her next move. Yeah.
Sure.
And so I'm going to roll a d4 and take that damage.
Mhm.
1, I've got armor 1, so I
Yeah.
just get like a superficial cut probably.
Okay. And seeing this thing spring into action, Jenka, you're absolutely right. It's what you think it is. It's a golem, and it kind of, as you flip it, it kicks the dagger and kind of falls to the ground and starts to scramble to its feet, and you bat it away, and it just screams, "Ah! Stop it, motherfucker!" And it's just like back against the tree, arms up, like backed up in a defensive pose. Not a defense, like in a sort of a submissive pose, I guess.
So you have a +1 forward on anything you'd want to do in this scene against it, Jessica?
What the fuck is your problem? That knife.
you can talk.
Oh, you're a tall drink of water. Not as tall as that one, but you're a tall drink of water.
I don't know if that's a compliment.
So I'm gonna go now. Am I
Hey,
right with
listen,
that?
No.
Listen up, little rag dude. You
Little
should
rag
still
dude.
let us think. Let us think a spell. I'm gonna look back to
Clearly-
Veils. Like,
Clearly, your strong suit.
I kind of like him, but I might use him to start a fire.
The poor thing looks like he's lost and hungry. Are you hungry and lost?
The mouth's just for talking.
Oh.
No in, all out. I also don't have an asshole. So there's no eating for me. Now, we've established that your thinking is done. So I'm just going to be on my way, right?
Nope. Can't let you do that. I'm gonna like use the staff to kind of like hold him in place.
Ah, easy with the. I'm brittle. I'm brittle. You're supposed to be friendly, by the way. I'm the one who says shitty things, and you're friendly, and you let me go, right?
No,
That's how this
not
goes.
not just yet. You're hanging out with those goblins, and we want to know why.
Uh, hmm.
While she's distracting him, I'm gonna try and just slip a bag out and like slip it over him and bundle him up real quick. He doesn't have any obvious cutting instruments, right? No sharp edges to him.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and defy danger, like while he's distracted, scoop him up.
Yeah, probably Dex.
God damn it!
Okay.
Well, I'm partway through to my next level. Oh my god, these dice.
Okay. So you go to swing the sack down, and as you do it, the golem kind of his eyes flash up, and he just gets this kind of shocked look on his face, and he jumps to the side and goes "Olay!" and jumps out of the way. And you sort of stumble as you're doing it, and your poultices fall on the ground, and Braxton just steps on him as he's moving forward, kind of scatters them.
Both uses get trashed.
Yep.
Excellent. I will delete that. Bam. No.
And in the commotion,
my good herbs.
in the commotion, he starts to try to backpedal to try and start running. You still have him cornered, but he's trying to use that to his advantage to sort of make an escape.
Mm-hmm.
What is Vale's doing? I've already hosed it enough.
You've already hosted him enough.
Do you wanna, it's getting pretty late. I'll need to pretty much call it. Do we want to kind of put a pin in the scene and pick it back up here, or do we want to try and like wrap this scene and
let's just take 5 minutes more maybe to try and wrap the scene, because there's one thing I have in mind that would be a good breaking off point if we can get there. If not, after 5 or so minutes, if we're not there, we'll just break.
Okay. I think for the hell of it, let me see if I can do it. I'm gonna try to do Unseen Servant to like kind of pick him up and pin him.
Okay.
So that he can't move.
Okay. So don't forget about your -1 to casting a spell.
Okay. So I would hit casting a spell again, or just Unseen Servant?
Yeah. You'll hit casting a spell, but you'll need to -1 off the result.
Okay.
Okay.
That's still late.
Yep. Let me look at Unseen Servant. I don't. Oops.
I should just put up there.
Great. It cannot pick up items on its own. It can only carry items that you give to it.
How do you parse that, Jessica? Are you holding it? Like, have you gotten your hands on him already to hand him to the servant? Seems like he's pretty much pinned, but we haven't gotten him under our control yet, right?
Yeah.
So you probably have the servant at hand, but you need to get him.
Yeah, I think probably because I was trying to have him pinned down with my staff.
Okay. Yeah, I had forgotten that you had him pinned.
But
Oh, you have him pinned down. Maybe if Josh agrees, maybe you can just reach down, kind of pick him up, let him up with the staff, and then like hand him to the servant that keeps him propped. Is he small? Like how small is he?
4 inches.
Oh yeah, he's well within load 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can pretty easily reach down and pick him up. He sort of struggles and punches and kicks at you as you do it, but you hand him to the servant, so he's sort of floating there in the air, looking around. Look, there's got to be some sort of deal we can break here, right? Because you seem lovely. Those guys aren't really my friends. I'm just, they just, they listen to me and stuff. But what do you guys want? And I'll just use my vast magical powers to give you something, and then we can call this finito, right?
Just go look at the move parlay. Is that something you'd be interested in doing, or do you want me to try and push that way, or do you have something else in mind?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? If I do that, I'd probably end badly, just because I have -1 charisma. So.
So I'll kind of kneel down by him, like, all right, we got off on the wrong foot here. You tried to kill us. We knocked you off your little wagon.
I would never try to kill you.
I'm Tina. What's your name?
Tina. It's a pleasure. My name's Grundy.
All right. All right, Grundy.
What do you do?
Like,
what do you do?
You want to get out of this without getting disassembled, and we want to know what you're doing to the goblins. I'm looking to.
I wasn't doing anything to the goblins. I was just talking to the goblins. That's what I do. I talk. I translate. That's what I was doing. What do you do? Like, that's what I do. I translate. What do you do? You've got to have something that you can do. Everybody has one thing they can do.
Hold on just a minute, Grundy. And I'm going to look to Jenka and say, if we can get what we need out of him, do we let him live or do we kill him?
I kind of wanted a pet. You don't think he'll be a pet of mine?
He'll piddle on the rug.
He didn't have an asshole, so I guess I can kill the piddle.
All right, Grundy, you've got my friend here charmed. I walk around, I look for problems, and then I put this, and I'm going to draw my sword out like halfway. I put this sword through those problems. And the goblins attacking the human folk around here have been a problem. They killed my friend Pete. And what I wanted.
Everybody can do something, right? That's a terrible talent.
So I'm trying to figure out. Oh shit! So he's actually going all Xanth here. Wants to know what their special powers are. Is that what? That's metagaming. I'm not. Well, to get into the parlay, I'm going to tell him we're willing to let you live. We want you to kind of travel around with us a little bit and tell us what you're doing with the goblins in the area, and you can have your life.
I was I'll tell you right now what I was trying to do with the goblins, and then you'll let me go home, right?
I'll look to Vales.
But I want something out of it too. You have to tell me what your talent is. What it really is.
Jessica, what are your thoughts on this? What's Vales doing? Like, he wants to get let go altogether. Are we willing to actually let him go?
Not at the cost of a talent. Like, it seems like he'll use that against us. So, Maybe ask him where he lives, like, so I can kind of see how far he's gonna go, or if we'll escort him home if he has an issue with that.
Well, he can hear us talking, so
Yeah.
If you want to take me home, that's what I wanted the goblins to do, is to take me home. Because I'm lost.
So where's home?
Home is Castle Rugna.
does that name mean anything to us?
No.
All right. So where did you find the goblins?
Um,
How long have you been
in
with
the
them?
like a couple months. They were in the mountains. But I'm not from the
And you're
mountains.
on an expedition home.
I'm trying to figure out the way there. This is like none of this is familiar, and nobody will show me what their town is. The trees are all strange here and boring. I'm hoping I didn't go too far north. I don't know why the wall wouldn't be working, but I'm hoping I didn't go too far north. But frankly, I want the fuck out of here.
So let me just put this out there. You got the goblins a few months ago to start running you home.
They're really dumb. You just, I mean, just talking to them a little bit, they'll do what you want.
Yesterday, they set up an ambush and tried to kill us when we came through here.
They were hungry. They said they were going to go get food. They're not used to the woods, and so they struggle a little bit. I told them, go get food if you want food. I don't need it. And so they went, and then one came back.
I'm kind of scrutinizing him as we're talking. I'm trying to figure out whether he's sincere and at least believes the stuff he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
I really
wonder if there's a defy danger of charisma to try and kind of figure out whether he's sincere or discern realities.
Okay.
I don't know how you.
I would do discern realities because this doesn't seem like a danger situation to me.
Okay. 6, unless Jessica can help me. And just not to complain about that call, but a danger could be being misled.
That's true.
Or you could even say, oh, there's no danger to discern he's
no. You know what?
Or not.
No, you can re-roll it as a defy danger charisma.
No. The only difference would be I get a +1 instead of 0, so I get a 7, which doesn't put me in necessarily a great position. I mean, it's better than 6.
It's a success though.
Yeah.
So let's roll with that. So you succeed, but
I stumble, hesitate, or flinch. The GM will offer a worse outcome, hard bargain, or ugly choice.
Does Brax maybe know where that place is? The city?
Huh?
No.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I never heard of that place.
I'm so tempted to tell him that he's stuck in the middle of Mundania.
Where you are from is not called Mundania, but he seems to be telling the truth, but he definitely has his own perspective, right? Like, you don't get the sense that he sent them out after you.
He just didn't care what they were doing.
Exactly. He's very, very, I mean, he's an asshole. He's a sarcastic jerk, basically. Very self-important. Yeah. I mean, you could see this guy saying, whatever, do what you do. Go get food however you need to. I don't care. It wouldn't occur to him to care. He notices you sort of sizing him up, though.
We need a little powwow. And I'm going to turn to Tina. Or, I'm sorry, I am Tina. I turn toward Jenka and Braxton and say, Jenka, your little hand will hold him for a little while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just step around the tree here. Let's just have a little quiet time.
Okay. And do you guys want to call it at that point for tonight? Or do you want to have your powwow tonight?
Let me just propose something to him real quick, and maybe we leave it hanging on the question, so Jessica can think about it, and you can think. he's going to cause a lot of trouble. Even if we keep him from getting back to the goblins, he's gonna find some other group of idiots that are going to cause trouble somewhere. I say we ask him how many goblins are out here. We mop this area up because once they get settled in, they're not going to leave. Right? They're gonna be a problem. So we clean this up, and then let's take him under our wing, and maybe instead of letting some idiots fall under his sway, we can help him. And Tina's completely missing the irony, right? Protect idiots from this guy. We'll serve him. But that's kind of what I'm throwing out there is we'll take his quest. We'll let him think he's in charge. And
Braxton's kind of nodding the whole time. Yeah.
I think first and foremost,
let some other idiots take care of it.
I think that's probably a good idea. Maybe since he's already hung around the goblins long enough, and if we can sway him to our side, we might be able to have him charm all the goblins to come out, and we can do an attack on their side, so we can get a little bit more money a lot quicker.
Okay.
And then we can go off on that path.
So we want to kind of offer him, because he doesn't seem to care about the goblins one or the other. Tell him, like, we need to finance this trip for you.
Yeah.
You help us round up these goblins as expediently as possible, and then we'll take you to this castle you lost from. And that's something that's interesting to Jessica as a player and to Jenka Vales as a character.
Yeah.
Let's go back around and just let Grundy know. You got some new idiots.
He kind of rubs his hands together. So we're goblin hunters now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I've been wanting to kill them ever since they started helping me.
And then you'll take me home, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Beautiful. And we'll cut there for tonight.
Sounds good.
So now Jessica has to read the Xanth novels between now and next week.
That was as soon as you said Grundy, like holy shit. And now I'm trying to rack my brains to remember how badass those books were.
Remembering back what I remember, I would think they don't age well.
No, yeah, I don't think I'd probably enjoy them now. I tried to reread the Dragonlance novels, and oh my god, they were so bad. I loved them so much as a teen, but the writing was so bad.
From what I remember of the treatment of women in the Xanth novels, it was not so flattering.
I don't really remember any gender issues. I'm sure they were there. And I know Piers Anthony wrote a bunch of like space erotica. Like,
well, the one thing I remember the most was the character Chameleon, whose intelligence and beauty is tied to her menstrual cycle.
Oh yeah. She turned from like a hag to a young maiden.
Right. She's
I
either
think I probably wasn't too sensitive to gender issues when I was reading those.
right. She's either super intelligent and hideous, or beautiful and dumb, depending on the time of the month. So yeah, maybe don't read those books.
Maybe protect the kids from them too. Good deal.
All right. Well, sorry we went all along today, guys.
No, that's okay. I enjoyed it, especially once I figured out who Grundy was. God damn it!
It took a minute to get going. I kind of decided that part on the fly. But
no, that's good stuff. The big thing for Dungeon World, I think you did pretty well with the moves of Roll Night. Anytime the dice roll, something should happen.
Got it.
So I think early on you were. I think when we ran in here and I made 2 misses back to back, you were kind of treating them as a miss of like in D&D where nothing happens, we go on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. Instead, something bad happens, and it could even be like, oh yeah, your dagger hits the guy, but like he hits you right as he's turning around to tell you everything that happened. Like it can be you get what you think you wanted, but it turns out to be the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. Down to a stick poked my eye out. Like it can be really bad.
Got it.
But anytime the dice roll something that changes the story should happen.
Okay.
And then when you frame a scene, you should have a general idea of, like, if we were watching a movie, what would the scene be about? Like, generally, what would we try to accomplish? Not necessarily pushing us to accomplish a specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you're at the inn in the evening. Generally, the scene is to try and find you a next thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we're like interacting with people, start thinking about, like, how do I push that next thing to do? How do we make opportunity?
Okay.
To let the players sink their teeth into. That keeps that wheel spinning from happening.
Keeps momentum.
Yeah, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was good tonight.
Cool.
And we have a potentially long-term job after a short-term goblin hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm sure it'll be straightforward and easy. No complications, especially with this character that's going to be with you.
and I might try and take Braxton along.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
If you guys were to use him as a hireling, I
think
need
it's
to
page
talk to you about.
36 in the book.
Okay.
And we can. Are you going to be free on Thursday night? You want to try and just meet up and kind of chat about some system stuff?
I believe I'm off work Thursday.
During kind of midweek, just let me know if that's something we're going to do. But we can kind of look at hirelings. If depending on what you're interested in doing and what you're interested in seeing in the game,
mm-hmm.
there's a barbarian move where hirelings normally have to pay them a cost to keep them around.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a barbarian move where they accept, like, as long as I'm pursuing my goals, they consider that paying their costs. Kind of like the band of Conan that just wants to be around Conan while he's doing cool shit.
Yeah.
But if I take a move like that, that's going to push, like, I want to try and keep a hireling around at all times.
Right.
And if you're not interested in hirelings being around, then I would take a different move altogether.
Right. And I don't think we'll see how long Grundy's with you, whether he's with you a short time or a long time. I don't know if he would be a hireling or not. I mean, I don't know what you guys think.
I would think probably not a hireling, except maybe we could talk about Thursday. He could be a hireling, and the cost is we keep making progress toward getting him home.
Mm-hmm.
And when we fail to do that, he'll just disappear, right?
Because there are things he can do that are very useful, but that's kind of all he can do.
So on Thursday, if we meet up, or else maybe Sunday, next Sunday, we can kind of talk about how to think of a hireling, how to construct them, and then there's things like where they don't really have hit points. What I generally do is say they can get hit 2 or 3 times,
mm-hmm.
Or once really bad and they're dead. And
okay.
so you can use attacking them to put us in a spot, try and keep them alive, or they run away, they get pissed off.
Got it.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Should we do end of session real quick and then let you guys sleep?
Yeah. That's that.
Before we do end of session, I'm just going to go and round up the 3 goblin heads that we got.
Okay. Sure. That's 75 gold, man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell Braxton to mark a B in the forehead of one of them with my dagger.
You know, potentially,
That
if
one's
there's a lot of goblins, you've got to figure out how you're going to haul these heads back.
That's why we got horses.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have 3 goblin heads that you can add to your inventory. Your load is going to be all taken up with goblin heads.
And actually, that was the reason I wanted the horses, because they don't really make you move quicker, except for short distance, but they do have a load. I think an individual horse has a load of 10. So we have 3 horses, so presumably a head would maybe be about a load. So presumably about 30 heads that we'd carry back. We wouldn't be able to ride the horses, but
they'll be so loaded down with heads that you can't ride them.
I don't know that I want to ride the horse anyway.
Yeah, you would look like a koosh ball, sort of, just with heads all around you. Okay, end of session. Did we learn anything new and important about the world?
Golems.
Okay.
I think we learned that golems are here. I think we learned that the goblins are not like on some massive war.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like a group coming through the area. So I'd say that's one.
Okay. Did you overcome a notable monster or enemy?
don't know if I'd be arguing silliness on this. Grundy was he was notable, and he was technically an enemy, and we befriended him. We didn't kill him, or maybe not even befriended him, but we made an ally out of him, and an ally against a common threat now.
I think that's fair. Did you loot a memorable treasure?
I don't think so.
Do goblin heads count?
Maybe if we can reclaim like that cart or anything. Well, I guess the cart was just standard cart now, right? It was nothing magical.
The one that they were on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even really a cart. It's like a little goblin rickshaw.
Okay,
sort of.
It was nothing special. I had in my head, I had some sort of like a little steampunky thing going on.
No,
but I think I was just being inspired by Jessica's.
To be
there was
clear,
nothing Grundy.
the magic that you were detecting was Grundy.
Yeah.
Okay. So
we answered 2 of those correct.
2 of those 3.
2 of those yes.
So you get 2 XP for those. And then we look at your bonds as well, right?
Alignment and bond.
All right. Let's do alignment first. Tina?
I was kind of pushing for teach someone the ways of my people by doing that kind of eulogy for the guy named Pete.
Okay.
I don't know that I necessarily pushed it that hard, but that's kind of where I was going with it.
Okay. I think that's fair. And
then for my bonds, oh, sure.
No, go ahead. That's what I was going to say.
I had a bond with Jenka. Jenkavale's ways are strange and confusing. I think it got a little bit deeper than that when she pulled out the goblin head. And I'd like to change it to Jenka is morbid but useful. I strive to understand her.
Okay.
And I think it might even be on the trajectory toward like I actually kind of want to learn this weird shit she's doing, but I'm not there yet.
Sure.
Right now, it's just kind of a morbid curiosity.
Okay.
You agree with that, Jessica?
Yeah.
Jenka's like leaning into the necromantic arts.
Yeah. So that puts me at 14 XP. As soon as we rest, I'm going to spend 8 XP to level up.
Okay.
And have 6 toward my next level. Jessica, what about your alignments and bonds?
My alignment was discover something about a magical mystery. And I think I did with the golem.
Yeah.
And then for the bonds, I have Tina is woefully misinformed about the world. I can teach them all that I can. I think when Andrew said that he's looking to learn from me, I don't know if I already established that bond or if I'm close to working towards resolving it. And then the other one is Tina owes me their life, whether they admit it or not. I don't know if I resolved that one, though.
I don't think we touched on that one as much. I think the first one, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess she's leaning towards being bought into learning from you. Does Jenka know that yet, though? Or is that
I would kind of want to see Jessica take that into consideration and like instead of just doing things from like, hey, come here, like here's why I'm doing this. Like if you took an active role in trying to push me toward that, and then because we're both pushing toward that together, that could lead to some really cool scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, you're just kind of running into the brush, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Trying to catch up. And instead, you're like, "Here's what's going on. Show me your contraptions." Like, yeah, like I fuck with this, and then I can smell magic in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'll be able to do it. I'm not a wizard. I won't have your spells, but like that would be trying to teach me some of the lost technology and stuff like that.
Okay.
Now, it might be you can resolve a bond by deciding that a bond does not apply anymore. And so read that bond again, the one that you're looking at.
Gina's woefully misinformed about the world. I can teach them all. I will teach them all that I can.
So maybe it's resolved and you get an XP by saying not that I'm woefully misinformed in the world, but like I show curiosity, and perhaps you could make a student out of me yet. Something like that shows that your intention toward me has gone from like simply an idiot to like maybe she's worth like taking some time to teach.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. Well, I guess with like the last scenario where you're like, yeah, let's go ahead and kill up these goblins, take the golem under our wing, and then we'll go and we'll do the journey with it. Like that wouldn't be misinformed about the world at all. And the fact that you were open to the idea of some of my suggestions means that I am kind of teaching you. So
okay.
Maybe it is kind of resolved.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll resolve that and just kind of think of a new way to word it, but take the XP in the meantime.
Yeah. Cool. And then, Andy, are you going to do your level up at the beginning of our next session, or I guess whenever you're?
Generally, they'll come into play when in the narrative we can take the what's the special move called? Level up. When you have enough XP, blah blah blah.
Essentially, whenever you camp.
It's camp, or even like just find some spare time. I'm trying to find. Yeah, it's under make camp. When you're settling to rest, consume ration. If somewhere dangerous, set watch. If you have enough XP, you may level up. Level up when you have downtime, hours or days. So it can be during camp, or it can be some other time. But you just have to take a few hours or days, like to reflect on what's happening.
Got it.
So like right now, if we're going to come back into hunting goblins with Grundy, like right after we stopped, I wouldn't level up between then and now.
Okay.
I'd rather just wait and
we can resolve that. We can resolve that next time.
Cool. I'm going to stop the broadcast.